Hello everyone, this is Sandy from We Are Talk of Thailand. Unfortunately, our year's not got off to a very good start. Despite all our efforts to remain safe and abide by the necessary precautions to avoid catching COVID, somewhere it's gone wrong. And this video is about how I think I might have caught COVID and the results of catching it and the symptoms, etc., that I detected early on. So if you're interested, please keep watching. Well, working back, I think I probably got contaminated just before the new year somehow. And excuse me, normally when we go out and we maintain masks, etc., and all the rest of it, and hand cleansing and all the rest of that sort of stuff. But just before New Year, we went out for a meal. And of course, you can't eat with a mask on. And I think that's the only time I can think that I lowered my guard to be able to catch COVID, because sitting in quite a busy restaurant actually, and that's where I'm thinking I probably caught it. But anyway, the New Year came, and I didn't really experience any problems during New Year. But it was on the New Year's Day was a Saturday, but on the Sunday, actually, no, I'm telling you a lie. For about 2 days before then, over the New Year, I was getting quite severe headaches, and it's a thing I never ever suffered from, and that was worrying me for a fact. What was going wrong, that I was suddenly getting quite severe headaches. But I didn't put that down to COVID. I put it down to maybe the weather change or something, or some other factor. I don't know. But that was the first indication that things weren't right. But on the Sunday after the New Year's Day, I started getting a sore throat. And then I was thinking, I've got a cold coming on. It seems like it, because that's normally the first signs I get that I've got a cold or something, a sore throat. And okay. And then on the Monday, by the Sunday night and during the night, actually, I started being very, very uncomfortable, and with the headache and the sore throat. And in fact, I got out of bed and I took some medication, some paracetamol, etc., to help me sleep. And when I woke up on the Monday morning, I knew right away then. I thought, I've got COVID. I've got COVID. So I asked Em, my wife, to go and get a couple of these kits that you can use to check yourself for COVID. Now, let me just stop there a minute about this, because I read about this after. She went down to one of the main pharmacies we have in Pattaya is Fasinos. And these are supposed to be a very respectable pharmacy that's used by many hospitals and are recommended by the majority of hospitals in Pattaya. Fasinos, they've got about at least 3 branches I know of, maybe more. Well, after she checked a few of the local shops, 7-Eleven, etc., and none of them had any in stock. So she went to Fasinos, and she managed to get a couple of kits there, which were 230 baht each. Now, 230 baht, that equates roughly to about UK money, about £4.50, about $5 a shot. So she managed to get 2 of them anyway. But just to stay on that point, later, in the last couple of days, I've seen many complaints about the prices of these kits, which should sell for around 50 to 60 baht, £1 to £1.50 each. And they've been hyped up because of the demand for them. For a reputable company like Casino, I think that's absolutely disgraceful, actually. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. But you can still order them online, as I understand, at 50 baht or 60 baht. and you get them delivered within 3 days. So if anybody's wanting to get some kits, it'd be worth keeping some in stock, actually. I would order them online. And as I say, I'm very, excuse me, I'm very unhappy with Fasino for their actions in this. Anyway, continue the story. So on the Monday, she got me the kit, and I went through the test, and it showed negative. But I understand that these kits are not 100%, and I was 100% confident. I'd read it all up. I read it all up on the Monday again to make sure, and all the symptoms that I was going through was a direct indication that I had got this Omicron version of the COVID, which is reportedly running rife, and you'll hear more evidence about that in a moment. So anyway, there wasn't much I could do about it. I just sort of stayed in bed and tried to keep out the way of everyone, and not come too near to my wife and daughter. Although the chances were it was probably too late for that anyway. But anyway, I had to try to avoid contaminating them. Now, another unfortunate incident happened also, that my wife's long-time friend that she hadn't seen for quite a long time came from Sweden, and she wanted to come and visit. And she was due to visit on the Tuesday of this week. So I told my wife, look, tell her she can't really come because I've got COVID and I don't want her to. She's got 2 children. She wanted to come with her husband, etc. I'd love to see them as well. But I didn't think that was a good idea. However, my wife did inform them, but they said they didn't really care. They thought they'd be okay, so they wanted to come. So I thought, okay, then I'll just stay out the way. If they're going to come, they're going to have a meal here, etc. Then I'll just stay out the way. I'll stay in the bedroom or something, or here in my computer room or something, and stay away from them. Let them enjoy their evening. Well, they arrived, and I was, by this time, I'm suffering quite heavily, actually. I couldn't really talk very much because my voice, you can still hear it's a little bit hoarse, but it's certainly a lot improved than what it was. I stayed out the way, and they came and they had their meal, etc. I did go out and stand at the other end of the garden, so to speak, and say, you know, Happy New Year and nice to see you, and excuse me for not being very entertaining at this time, which they obviously understood. And my wife's friend says, you know, you can come and join us. We feel safe. And I said, no, I can't do that. Anyway, so I went back to trying to make myself feel better, and they duly departed. And the next day, my wife went out with them. They went down the beach in Pattaya, and they were sitting on the beach enjoying themselves, etc. And then they were getting ready to depart, going somewhere else. Well, when my wife came back from the beach, guess what? She had a headache and she had the beginnings of a sore throat. Couldn't be worse, could it? You know. So she had this headache and sore throat, and the big thing for me is, and I didn't get an increase in temperature at all. My temperature, which I monitor very, very regularly, stayed around 36, absolutely perfect. But when my wife came back and she had a shower, etc., she said she was feeling hot. And when I took her temperature, she was already 37. So this was serious. So I was beginning to recover at this point, and I said beginning to recover. My sore throat was still pretty painful, but not nearly as bad as it was, and I felt it was easing. Now, medication-wise, what did I take? Well, actually, I only took medication that I had brought from the UK. Actually, I had some brand called Day Nurse and Night Nurse, which I find very good when you've got flus, etc., for helping you sleep at night or helping you concentrate during the day if you're feeling unwell. So I was using that, and I found the Day Nurse. The Day Nurse version of it really helped my symptoms much more than the night nurse did, because although the night nurse is supposed to help you sleep better, it didn't seem to alleviate any of the problems with the sore throat. But anyway, that's what I was using as medication. But I thought, now that my wife's getting pretty ill, I better find out what's best for her, you know. So I looked it up, and my wife also gave me some recommendations about what they're giving in the hospitals for this. So I looked it up, and from what I understood, there was two particular aspects to the medication. There was one that actually tackled the COVID, and another medication that tackled the sore throat. So, okay. And apparently you could purchase these through pharmacies, such as the horrible Facino's place. So anyway, swallowing my pride, I went down to Facino's yesterday to get medication for my wife, and I managed to buy the stuff for the sore throat, okay. But the other one that was supposed to tackle the COVID, you had to get from a doctor in the hospital. Well, at this present moment of time, it's virtually impossible. In fact, I think it is impossible to get an appointment with a doctor in a hospital. And yet you'll see more about that in a moment. You'll hear more about that in a moment also. So anyway, we went back, and I was checking my wife's temperature again, and by this time, it was coming up to nearly 38 degrees, 37.7 or 8, from what I remember. And I was getting really serious. And not only that, but she was beginning to go into like semi-comas and not really understanding what I'm saying, etc. And I got seriously worried about her condition. Now, a big difference between myself and my wife is because she's Thai, she actually got her inoculations, vaccinations against COVID from the Thai government, as I did. But for Thais, they were offering the Chinese Sinovac and Sinopharm vaccinations, which had come from China. Whereas, because I was a Farang, which means a European type person, they were offering me Pfizer, which by many accounts is one of the best against this problem. So anyway, cut a long story short, I got 2 Pfizers, but the government realized, I think, they got an indication these Chinese vaccines were okay against the original COVID, but with the Delta variant, etc., they weren't so good, and the efficiency was decreasing quite rapidly. So the second vaccination my wife got was the AstraZeneca from Oxford in the UK, and that was a positive aspect. So I don't know. I have no medical background as such, so I don't know. But I'm wondering if that's what's made the difference between me not having any temperature variations, whereas she certainly was badly hit by the temperature side of things. So the consequence of last night when I saw this happening is that I got in contact with my wife's niece, who in the government hospital here in Pattaya, she works there, she's a nurse there, and I wanted her advice how I could get my wife into hospital as quickly as possible. After speaking with her, it transpires that the hospitals in Pattaya are absolutely chock-a-block, and there's a waiting list to get into hospital. So if you're severely ill and you're waiting to get admitted to hospital, chances are not good for it here in Pattaya. Excuse me. So you need to bear that in mind if you're watching this in Pattaya and you're thinking about it. She did mention that there were patients that were being moved to other hospitals in the region, down to Satahip or up to Sriracha or Rayong, wherever they're going to other hospitals anyway. But getting an urgent response was not good. But she did give us some advice on the treatment to give my wife, which included sort of the normal stuff to cool her down and get her temperature, cold compresses around her head, etc. So that all worked, and she was doing that I think she might still be doing on a 4-hourly basis, to control the temperature. Although this morning, our temperature seemed to be okay. I didn't actually take it, but when I touched her, she was pretty cool. So we've got through that crisis, and that was a very worrying crisis for me at that time. This morning, I feel about 90% recovered, and I'm going to take a lateral test later today. But I know I'm on the mend. But that's lasted me since about New Year's Day right through to today, which is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There's 6 days. So 6 days I've had a problem, and it's not been comfortable. But it's as they have been explaining about the Omicron. Certainly in my case, it was like a heavy cold. Yeah, that's the best way. Not really a flu because I had no fever, but a flu-like symptoms or a cold-like symptoms with sore throat and headaches and things like that, and no energy. That was another aspect. And night sweats during the night, sweating very heavily was another symptom that they highlighted, and certainly something that I experienced. So I'm sorry I'm dragging this video out a bit, but I just want people to be aware of what we've gone through and how we've handled it. It did get me worried. I've got to admit, I'm 72 years of age, and you never know what way these things are going to swing. So I have to say I even got round to making sure my wife knew where all the insurance policies and whatever she had to do if anything happened to me, blah, blah, which we've gone through before. Because you never know what's going to happen. Fortunately, this time I don't think they're going to be needed. I think I'm going to be a pain in the ass for a few people for a while longer. So that's the story anyway. And I hope my wife is going to recover within the next couple of days, 2 or 3 days, and then we can get back to life in 2022. So that's the story, and thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and please try and avoid the same story as us, try and avoid getting it, but it's my opinion that it's very hard to avoid, even if you abide by all the rules, because there's certain times of the day you have a coffee or you have a drink or something, you've got to lower your guard. And this thing is exceptionally infectious. So it seems to be able to get round the guard. I hear them publishing that even the cloth masks are virtually useless, single cloth masks. They recommend a three-layer mask. So they say if you have a 2-layer mask, yeah. If you have a 2-layer mask, then you should maybe wear a cotton mask with that, and that'd bring up to 3 layers. That would help you. So there's all sorts of indications, and I think it's more by luck than judgment that most people get through to it. I'm hearing stories now of people that are being here on holiday and are heading home and getting up to Bangkok, and they've got to take a PCR test before they go out, get on the aircraft. And there's quite a few of them getting stuck in Bangkok because they've caught Omicron here in Pattaya. So beware, because I believe that's causing a lot of confusion all over Thailand, actually, particularly in Bangkok and places like Phuket, where the space for contaminated people is now at a high premium, and a lot of people are getting stuck. And if you're virtually asymptomatic about it, you've got no symptoms, then your insurances don't cover you. That's crazy to me, If you've got to suddenly start isolating and things like that, because you could go to this PCR test not knowing you've got anything, as quite a few people have. They're going in, they're getting checked and they're positive, and they're going to have to go into isolation, quarantine. But their insurance companies are not giving anything towards us, so they've got to pay for that themselves, and it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money, so beware. Anyway, that's it. I'll cut it off here. Thanks for watching again. Bye for now. Take care.